Hey folks, it's Matt once again, and I know not everyone is a fan of these type of videos, but I still wanted to once in a while come back and do more wrestling videos. I'll make sure to put a playlist down below, because I do want to go back and rewatch all of the wrestling pay-per-views. I started with 1985's War to Settle the Score, and wanted to go back on every Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, Survivor Series, and so forth pay-per-view at WWF. And at one point, someone mentioned, what about WCW? I don't have any of those, and it's going to be an endeavor just to do WWF. And also do it in spurts. I'm not going to do it all in one go. So, like, maybe when I go on these spurts, I'll do 1 or 2 years worth. And also that way, I've been getting more busy with life in general to at least upload something so that if people who do like it, you have someone to watch. If people don't, I'm still going to be doing reviews and so on and so forth. But anyway, again, down below should be a playlist of the wrestling videos I've done. And it's been fun going back and watching these because I haven't seen these for at least a decade. Well, no, that's a lie. I saw them when I first got the DVDs, at least for some of these, and I can't remember when those were though, actually. So, for all I know, it was a decade. I just completely forgot. I don't think it was. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I am talking about the Royal Rumble 1990, because the last one I talked about pay-per-view wise was really shitty. No Holds Barred, the match / the movie, where it's just, here's the shitty movie, No Holds Barred, and then here's one match that's a tag team with Hogan and Brutus Beefcake versus Zeus and Macho Man in a steel cage. But we did the Royal Rumble 1990, which this was a fun one, mainly for the Royal Rumble. The Royal Rumble itself was fun. This one took place in Florida. You had Tony Schiavone and Jesse Ventura doing the commentary. Jesse Ventura is nice to whenever he's on the commentary, it's fun. Tony Schiavone, I never minded him. He was only there for a short time, then would go to WCW and pretty much did all of the WCW stuff until they closed. I believe until they closed. I mean, the matches before the Royal Rumble were not much. You had the Rougeaus, Fabulous Rougeaus versus the Bushwhackers. Really lame match. I mean, the Bushwackers, they were only there for comedy, to do that and lick faces. They weren't much wrestlers. They could bite. I mean, hell, even one of them bites the fucking referee on the ass. Is biting one of the Rougeaus on the nose, on the bridge of his nose. But no disqualification. Which I think even Jesse Ventura mentions. But the Bushwhackers win. I mean, the fans were into them at the time. I know they got into the Hall of Fame, and I'm like, I think there's a lot of people who get in the Hall of Fame before Bushwhackers, but I don't know, I'm pretty sure I would not have minded them when I was a kid. But, when you're older, you watch the Bushwhackers, you go, yeah, it's just a really waste of a match. The $1 Million Man, little interview segments, like he's miffed that pretty much he got #1 in the Royal Rumble, which is the last time he got number 30. And there's talk that he paid them off. So this time he got #1. Then we get the Genius, who is actually, I believe, Lanny Poffo, which is Macho Man's brother. Macho Man Randy Savage's brother. He was here as the Genius. At times would write these poems that he would read before a match or before, when he was a manager, before a match started. Versus Brutus the Barber Beefcake. And as I'm watching this, I'm actually not minding Brutus the Barber Beefcake. I'm actually not minding what he does. I actually don't mind his persona. The crowd was really into him. And this match was there. I mean, there's intimidation tactics, trying to size each other up. Beefcake does a atomic drop on the Genius. Slams his nuts on the rope. Slams the Genius's nuts right on the rope. Gives him a body slam. Slams him to the ref. gives him a sleeper hold, and Genius passes out. And, the Genius did a couple of stuff, but it was mainly Beefcake's match. But then, as he's cutting the Genius's hair, the Genius's buddy, Mr. Perfect, comes out to beat up on Beefcake and hits Beefcake in the ribs with a chair. And both of them get disqualified. I guess Beefcake because he threw Genius into the ref, and then, which was an accident, but whatever. And then, of course, Genius gets a DQ because Mr. Perfect's there. And I know this is leading up to Mr. Perfect would have the Intercontinental title, and he was going to have a match with Beefcake. But what happened was, around, I forget when it was, I think by SummerSlam, it was going to be Mr. Perfect versus Beefcake. And I'm guessing Beefcake would have won the Intercontinental title, but there's an accident, a boating accident, where I believe a friend of his was water skiing. He was helping him out, and someone fucked up, and so they thought it was a signal to go, and the guy got ready, or the woman, whoever it was, and hit Beefcake in the face. As it got pulled, the water skiing hit him in the face and busted up his face. Like, he had to have surgery and have a bunch of shit on it. I think that's what it was, unless that was just a wrestling storyline and something else happened. But from what I understand, he really did have an accident, and his face was fucked up and busted up, and he was away for quite a while, quite a few years. So that's pretty sad, because, you could tell the audience was really into Brutus the Barber Beefcake. He was all right in the ring. I've seen much worse, and he could definitely get the crowd into it. And I thought he had a decent amount of charisma to him. Again, to get the crowd into it. I was liking him. I was really liking him, and right, he's on the verge of getting a title, and then that accident happens. And by the time he gets back, he pretty much is just with Hogan and a tag team, and like, what was it, WrestleMania 9? Just sort of one of the worst WrestleManias of all time, so that didn't help him. So that's kind of sad. And I think actually, but it helped Bret the Hitman Hart, because he got the shot, and then he became the Intercontinental Champion. So, which I will admit, Bret Hart is better than Beefcake, so maybe, it is what it is. But this match was there. I mean, I don't mind Beefcake. Nice to see Macho Man's brother get work as the Genius. It was there, kind of a standard match. But double disqualification, kind of a shitty finish. But it was an okay. Other segments, interview where there's an argument between the Bobby Heenan family, like Andre the Giant and so forth, about who's going to win the Royal Rumble. Then you get to this guy, Ronnie Garvin versus Greg Valentine. And pretty much they get big slaps back and forth. Ronnie Garvin, most of his moves is just punching, like his boxing. And there's this ridiculous thing where he jumps up and gives like a flying down headbutt as he's standing. Like, he jumps up. It's as if he's, wasn't there a fucking He-Man character that would do something with his head? Or, like, there's a guy, there's his head, and he would do like, boom. He'd like jump up and boom. Boom. I'm like, what the fuck is going on with that? I got so excited, I swear snot was coming out of my nose, which I know is disgusting. That's a weird thing. And also, they keep forgetting it's an I Quit match, which you don't win by pinning, you win by making them say I quit. And throughout the entire match, it got annoying after a while. Actually, not even after a while. It got annoying right off the bat, because it's really stupid. Throughout the whole thing, they kept trying to pin each other. Wait, you can't pin them, it's I quit. They didn't try to pin each other. You can't do it, it's I quit. They keep doing it throughout the entire fucking match. It's fine if you did it once. But they did a lot more than once. But I mean, there's some entertainment with how ridiculous it was at times. Like Ronnie Garvin doing that flying headbutt thing. Or because he put a guard on his leg, like Valentine has a guard on his leg, when Valentine tries to do the figure 4, it doesn't hurt Garvin. So he actually goes up and does this. I'm like, this is just surreal. This is really surreal. But pretty much gives Ronnie Garvin, pretty much all he does is headbutts, punches, does this hold called Indian Deathlock. It ends with him pretty much turning over the figure 4, reversing it. When the referee's turn, I don't know, maybe was it a non-DQ as well? I know he hits Valentine with Valentine's cast and then gives the figure 4, and then Ronnie Garvin wins. Probably the only shining moment for the guy. I mean, it has some humor to it. I mean, I can't really say it's a good match. I mean, I had some fun with it, but so far it's like, okay, Bushwhackers, Beefcake, standard match, this, kind of some funny stuff. Brother Love, who is just guys like, I love you. Red face, and he interviews people. Here he interviews Sherry. He's with Sherry, Sensational Sherry, who's with the Macho Man. They bring out Sapphire, who's with Dusty Rose. And she slaps Sherry. Then Randy goes out after her. And then Dusty Rose goes out, but he gets attacked. But then when Macho Man leaves, Dusty Rose beats up Brother Love. Pretty much to set up a few matches, which honestly the matches didn't seem to go anywhere. Didn't seem like there was much of a payoff, to be honest. Because I'll get to that, WrestleMania 6, it was Dusty Rhodes, Sapphire, and then they had Miss Elizabeth versus Macho Man and Sensational Sherry. And Dusty Rhodes won. And then the next time we saw him was like SummerSlam, and it was like a 2-minute match between Dusty Rhodes and Macho Man because the story was Sapphire has been bought out by the $1 Million Man, and Sapphire said fuck it, and it's with him, and that got Dusty discombobulated and lost in like 2 minutes to Macho Man. And I don't know if he did anything else. Maybe he was in Survivor Series. When I get to that, I'll talk about it. But you have Jim Duggan versus Big Boss Man. Big Boss Man at this point was still a bad guy. I like the Big Boss Man. I really do. I think it would have been nice to see a DVD of the Big Boss Man. I mean, he's passed away, but you know how they did one for Brian Pillman. They never do one for Big Boss Man, but it'd be nice because I really like the guy. I like his matches. I just like his persona, whether as a bad guy or a good guy. I like his match as a bad guy against Hogan on Saturday Night's Main Event in a steel cage. I liked it when he was the good guy, which I'll mention. Jim Duggan holds Bossman's leg when Bossman tries to kick it, but then Bossman uses his other leg and kicks Duggan in the face. The chop to the throat, punches. And pretty much Duggan wins via disqualification because Big Bossman uses his nightstick. And this one was kind of dangerous because when Big Bossman leaves, he throws his chair, and the first chair misses Duggan's face by this much. Like, he throws it, and Duggan's, like, right here. No, actually, it was... Yeah, about right here. Like, missing by, like, this much. And Hacksaw, I mean, he stayed in character, I'll say. I'm sure in the back he'd be like, what the fuck are you doing, man? You almost hit me by that much. And then he throws a second chair, and Hacksaw grabs it and sits down in the ring in the chair. But yeah, that first one almost hit Duggan in the face. It's like, oh shit, that was a close call. Because again, Big Boss was just throwing them, chucking them into the ring. Then the people give promos for the Royal Rumble. Jake the Snake Roberts, he definitely gave the best one. I wonder if it's here. I wonder if I can find it. Because his quote was really good. But that's the thing with Jake the Snake Roberts. He always gave really good promos. And he always gave promos He always did a great job with that. And I probably won't find it, but I think I will. I think it's right here. I think if I go to 1990. Not sure if I, yeah, well, maybe I went past it. Let me see. I'm looking, yeah, here it is. Never ceases to amaze me what the human mind can come up with. I mean, you think of the whole concept, the Royal Rumble. This afternoon you're going to take 30 men, and every 2 minutes you're going to send somebody in that ring. A fresh man. So you're thinking to yourself, well, what number might be the best? Well, the last number would be the best, but that doesn't really mean anything. Because there's still going to be a lot of 100 men out there. And hopefully, I'll be one of those 100 men. The man that wins the match is not going to be the man that's the best wrestler, the best athlete. This will be the man that will do anything. The man that will take that extra step. Do just a little bit more than anybody else. Maybe sacrifice a little bit more than anybody else. Now me, that sounds just a lot like me. And usually he'd be the guy who talked more quiet and didn't do a whole bunch of yelling. But his promos were just great. A joy to watch. And again, the matches were hit and miss. I mean, mostly miss. Like, okay at best. I mean, I like Big Boss Man, whether he's a good guy or bad guy, and Ronnie Garvin had some humor to that one, but the Royal Rumble itself, it's just a great... I always love the concept, and just the people involved with this. I mean, get a load of this. Ted DiBiase, Coco Beware, the Rockers, which is Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels. So you got $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase. You got Shawn Michaels. You got Jake the Snake Roberts. You got Macho Man Randy Savage. You got Roddy Piper. You got Bret the Hitman Hart. You got Dusty Rhodes. You got Andre the Giant. You got Jimmy Snuka. You got Earthquake. You got Ultimate Warrior. You have Ravishing Rick Rude, Mr. Perfect, Hulk Hogan. And Hulk Hogan was the big winner in this. $1 Million Man was in there for quite a long time. Andre the Giant got eliminated by Demolition, who were also in it. Ultimate Warrior got some good stuff in there. He's the one who eliminated the $1 Million Man, got a huge applause. Yeah, the great moment where they're throwing people out and it's Hogan and Warrior, and people were just losing their mind. Oh my God, they're actually together. They're actually against each other. What could happen? This is the first time they've been in the ring together. It'd be like if there was a... Honestly, it really would be like if there was a Royal Rumble and you had Stone Cold Steve Austin and Hulk Hogan and together. I mean, it was that big in 1990. It really was. Honestly, at that time, they were the Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock. I mean, granted, they didn't have as great of a rivalry that spanned the years as Austin and The Rock. But I mean, in that moment of time, they were the two top guys. They really were. You have the guy who's been there for years, and you have the new up-and-coming guy. And just going back and forth in a double clothesline. And, you know, Ultimate Warrior, I know people say a lot of bad crap about him, and I wasn't a fly on the wall. But he's playing a character who is supposed to be crazy. And I thought that worked well. So even when he got thrown out, he came back and just knocked down the people. And even just like, why is he helping Odin? And why is he knocking these people down? And what is he, nuts? And it's like, yeah, of course he's nuts. He's the Ultimate Warrior. Have you heard his promos? And I enjoy his promos because they're supposed to be crazy. But if you actually write down what he says, and I can understand him. People are like, I can't understand it. I can understand him in his promos. I can write them down for you. And when you actually read it off, they're actually pretty good. It's just he gives him like a guy who's fucking crazy on drugs. I'm like, yeah, that's the Ultimate Warrior. That's the point. So just having so many people, I mean, Earthquake, I always remember him as a great villain, especially when it comes up to SummerSlam, him versus Hogan. At this point, it was the Canadian Earthquake, and pretty much everyone getting up on him to get him out of there. Hogan got quite a few people out. He took out Honky Tonk Man. He took out, he helped take out Jimmy. Actually, he did help take out Jimmy Snuka. He took out Mr. Perfect. He was the last guy to go up against Hulk Hogan, which that was pretty fun, honestly. It was just nice to see so many people that I remember as a kid all in the same event. Granted, they weren't all in the same ring together because it's every 2 minutes, but you have that group of people in there. It's just, it shows how great the roster was. I mean, again, the people were in matches. Big Boss Man, and I saw Jim Duggan, okay, Bruce Barber, Beefcake. But I want to run down the 30 entries in the Royal Rumble. $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase, Coco Beware, pretty much, probably you could say the most famous jobber. Marty Jannetty of the Rockers, Jake the Snake Roberts, Macho Man Randy Savage, Roddy Piper, The Warlord, Bret Hart, Bad News Brown, Dusty Rhodes, Andre the Giant, the Red Rooster, which he only lasted like 2 minutes, which is fine. Axe of Demolition, Haku, Smash of Demolition, Akeem, Jimmy Snuka, Dino Bravo, which actually I read some really crazy stuff about Dino Bravo, because I was talking about before how I don't care for the guy. He got murdered from the Mafia, because apparently he was running illegal cigarettes. And then he was being even more successful because people recognized him from wrestling, and then he was found dead, like shot in the head twice or 3 times, and people suspected it was the Mafia because Dino Bravo was it was like fucking literally a Goodfellas scene. Holy shit! I mean, granted, I don't like the guy as a wrestler, but so whatever I said, I still don't like him as a wrestler, but I did not know about how he died. Maybe I said it and I completely blocked it out, and then I'm like, holy shit! I just did not expect that. So one of those crazy things, and I forget, and then I read it again. Whoa, really? The hell is true. But yeah, the Canadian Earthquake, Jim Neidhart, Ultimate Warrior, Rick Martel, Tito Santana, Honky Tonk Man, Hulk Hogan, Shawn Michaels, The Barbarian, Rick Rude, Hercules, and Mr. Perfect. But yeah, Royal Rumble was a lot of fun. This was the first Royal Rumble the Hulk Hogan won. Very fun. I mean, granted, you could say, did Hulk Hogan really need a Royal Rumble win? Because he was, he's a champion. And, did he really need a Royal Rumble win? Could you not give it to a guy? Like, I think it would have been nice to have Jake the Snake Roberts win a Royal Rumble. Or Roddy Piper. I mean, at least Roddy Piper at one time got the Intercontinental, but Jake the Snake Roberts never got a belt. It would have been nice for Jake Roberts I think it would have been nice to see him win. I think that would have been really interesting, and no one would see it coming. But still, I mean, at this point, I like Hulk Hogan as a character. I mean, yeah, watching back to see some of the politics that played out. Like again, he was the champion, and he wins the Royal Rumble. You're thinking, did he really need that as well? Because he wins it twice in a row. But at the same time, I'd rather be him than Mr. Perfect. I'd rather be him as a character than Jimmy Snuka or someone. So, granted, I would prefer Jake Roberts or Roddy Piper or someone. It was still fun to see Hulk Hogan win, and it's still a very fun Royal Rumble. And I would say that's really the saving grace of this Royal Rumble was the Royal Rumble itself. It was a very fun one, had a great roster, and it was entertaining to watch. A lot of fun to watch. So I was going to make this shorter, but it turned to 25 minutes. I didn't mean for that. But I'm going to try to make some of these shorter because no one wants to see, 30-minute wrestling videos. But I want to do these because I have fun, and some people do enjoy them. So try to do as much as I can. Either way, thanks for watching. Take care. And the next wrestling video will be WrestleMania 6. See you in a bit.